Admiral Krathzon stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Conquest, and watched the view screen with satisfaction. Another world had fallen to the Valix Imperium. The Thren colonies were now under his control. Their pathetic defenses crushed in less than 3 hours. Their people were being rounded up for processing. Some would become laborers, others would serve in the mines. It did not matter to him which. "Admiral, the tribunal is ready to broadcast," his communications officer announced. Krathzon straightened his uniform. This was his favorite part. The declaration of dominance. The moment when lesser species realized they had no choice but to submit. He had delivered this speech 17 times in his career, and each time felt as glorious as the first. Begin transmission. All frequencies. Make sure every species in this sector receives it. The broadcast went live. Krathzon's image appeared on screens across dozens of worlds. He began to speak, his voice firm and commanding. "Attention. All independent systems. The Valix Imperium has expanded its protective borders to include the Thren colonies. Any species that wishes to remain independent must acknowledge Valix authority and pay the proper tributes. You have 1 cycle to respond. Those who refuse will be considered hostile and dealt with accordingly." It was a simple message. Submit or be conquered. The strong ruled, and the Valix were the strongest. That was the natural order of things. Krathzon smiled as he finished speaking. Another day, another expansion. His superiors would be pleased. Perhaps they would give him another fleet to command. There were still many weak species out there waiting to be absorbed. "Admiral." The censor officer's voice cut through his thoughts. "Sir, we have a contact. Something just appeared directly ahead of the fleet." "What do you mean appeared?" Krathzon demanded. "Did a ship drop out of faster-than-light travel?" "No, sir. It just appeared. Our sensors show nothing, but visual confirms there is a vessel there. Medium size. Unknown configuration." Krathzon stared at the view screen. A ship floated there, sleek and dark. It had not been there a moment ago. Their sensors still showed empty space where the vessel clearly existed. That should not be possible. Valix sensors were the best in the galaxy. They could detect a ship from 3 systems away. "Get me an identification. What species does it belong to?" The sensor officer worked frantically at his console. "Sir, the ship's signature does not match any known species in our database. The design is completely unfamiliar. Hail them. Demand they identify themselves immediately." The communications officer sent out the hail. For a long moment, there was silence. Then a voice responded, calm and unhurried. The universal translator processed it instantly. "This is Captain Min-Jun Park of the Earth vessel Silent Observer." Krathzon searched his memory. Humanity? Earth? He had never heard of either. "Where is your homeworld?" he demanded. "Far enough away that you never found us." Captain Park replied, "We have been watching you, Admiral Krathzon. We have been watching the Valix Imperium for quite some time." A chill ran down Krathzon's spine. This unknown captain knew his name. How long had they been watching? How had they remained undetected? "You dare spy on the Valix Imperium?" Krathzon's voice rose. "You will pay for this insult. Surrender your vessel immediately, or I will destroy it." "We are not here to surrender," Captain Park said. "We are here to deliver a message from Earth Command. Humanity formally recognizes the sovereignty of the Thren people. We demand that the Valix Imperium withdraw from Thren territory immediately and release all prisoners." Krathzon stared at the view screen in disbelief. Then he began to laugh. His officers joined in, the bridge filling with mocking laughter. A single small ship from an unknown species was making demands? This was absurd. "You demand?" Krathzon could barely speak through his laughter. "You are 1 ship. 1. I have 47 warships in this fleet alone. The Valix Imperium controls 300 systems. Who are you to make demands of us?" We are the ones who have been watching you commit atrocities for 6 months, Captain Park replied, his tone unchanged. We have recorded everything. Every attack. Every civilian killed. Every world enslaved. And now we are sharing those recordings with the entire galaxy. Krathzon's laughter died. What? His communications officer looked up, his face pale. Sir, they are broadcasting on all frequencies. I cannot stop it. The signal is too strong, and it is encrypted beyond anything I have seen. Everyone in range is receiving it. On the view screen, images began to play. Krathzon saw his own fleet bombarding peaceful colonies. He saw Valak soldiers rounding up civilians. He saw the executions of those who resisted. He saw the slave pens. Every crime, every brutal act, recorded in perfect clarity. Cut that transmission, Krathzon roared. I cannot, sir. They are using technology far beyond our jamming capabilities. Krathzon felt rage building inside him. This unknown species had humiliated him. They had exposed the Valaks to the entire galaxy. Species that had feared the Valaks would now see them as monsters. Allies would turn away. Enemies would grow bold. Weapons, target that ship. Prepare to fire all batteries. His weapons officer hesitated. Sir, we know nothing about their defenses. Perhaps we should go. Fire on my command, or I will have you executed for cowardice. The weapons officer quickly obeyed. Weapons locked. It's Sir, Captain Park, Krathzon said, his voice cold. You have made a terrible mistake. You have 10 minutes to surrender your ship and your crew. If you do not, I will reduce your vessel to atoms, and then I will find your homeworld and do the same to it. There was a pause. Then Captain Park spoke again, and Krathzon heard something in his voice that made his blood run cold. Not fear, not anger, just calm, certainty. Admiral, you have no idea what you are dealing with. For your own sake, I suggest you withdraw your fleet and return to Valak's space. This is your only warning. My only warning? Krathzon's voice shook with fury. No, this is your only warning. 10 minutes, Captain. Then you die. He cut the transmission and began counting down the minutes. His fleet moved into attack formation, surrounding the small human vessel. 47 warships against 1. The outcome was obvious. These humans would learn the price of defying the Valak's Imperium. As the 10th minute approached, Krathzon leaned forward in his command chair. Time is up, he announced. All ships, fire at will. Destroy them. The fleet opened fire as one, and space lit up with deadly energy. The space around the silent observer exploded with weapons fire. Plasma bolts, particle beams, and kinetic rounds converged on the human vessel from every direction. The Valak's weapons were powerful enough to crack continents. The combined firepower of 47 warships could destroy a small moon. Captain Minjun Park sat calmly in his command chair and watched the sensor displays. The ship barely trembled. Shield status? He asked. Lieutenant Cho Hanul checked her tactical console. Shields at 98% and holding, sir. The Valak's weapons are not even close to penetrating them. ADO. End quote. Adjust shield harmonics to better absorb their particle beams. No need to waste energy. Yes, sir. On the Eternal Conquest, Admiral Krathzon watched in disbelief as his fleet's weapons splashed harmlessly against the human vessel's shields. The small ship sat there, unmoving, untouched, not even a flicker in its defensive barrier. Impossible, he whispered. Our weapons can level cities. How are their shields this strong? Commander Zexval, his first officer, stepped closer. Admiral, perhaps we should reconsider this engagement. We know nothing about these humans. Their technology appears far beyond. Silence. Krathzon snapped. I will not retreat from a single ship. All vessels, maximum firepower. Concentrate fire on one point. overwhelmed their shields. The fleet adjusted its targeting. Every ship fired at the exact same spot on the silent observers' shields. The concentration of energy was enormous, enough to bore through a planet's core. Still, the human shields held without wavering. Krathzon's hands gripped his command chair until his knuckles turned white. 5 minutes of continuous fire. Nothing. The human ship just floated there, absorbing everything. "Admiral, our weapons are starting to overheat," the weapons officer reported. "We need to pause firing to let the systems cool." "Do it," Krathzon growled. "But keep targeting solutions active." As the Valak's weapons fell silent, Captain Park's voice came over the open channel. "Are you finished, Admiral?" The mocking tone in those words made Krathzon's rage boil over. "Finished? We have barely begun. When our weapons cool, you will do nothing." Captain Park interrupted. "You have demonstrated your hostility. You have refused our peaceful warning. Now, you will see what happens when humans stop being patient." A single beam lanced out from the silent observer. It struck the Eternal Conquest with surgical precision, cutting through its weapons arrays. Explosions rippled across the flagship's hull as every gun emplacement died. The beam lasted only 2 seconds. "Damage report," Krathzon shouted. "All weapons offline, sir," his weapons officer said, his voice shaking. "They targeted every single weapons system perfectly. Main power is still intact. Life support is functional. But we cannot fight back." One shot. One precise shot had disarmed the most powerful warship in the Valak's fleet. Krathzon stared at the view screen, his mind struggling to process what had happened. "Admiral," Commander Zexval said quietly, "we should surrender. This enemy is beyond our capability to—" "No," Krathzon's voice echoed through the bridge. "I will not surrender to an unknown species. I will not bring shame to the Valak's Imperium. Send an emergency transmission to the homeworld. Tell Empress Calvina we need reinforcements immediately. Every ship they can send. Sir, if we call for help, it will take hours for them to arrive. What do we do until then? We stall. We negotiate. We do whatever we must to survive until help comes." Before Zexval could respond, the sensors started screaming. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Admiral," the sensor officer cried out. "Multiple contacts. Ships are decloaking all around us." Krathzon looked at the view screen. His heart sank into his stomach. 15 more human vessels appeared, surrounding his entire fleet. They were larger than the silent observer. Much larger. Each one was the size of a Valak's dreadnought. They formed a perfect sphere around the Valak's ships, blocking every possible escape route. "By the void," Commander Zexval whispered. They were all here, watching, waiting. Captain Park's voice returned, now broadcast, so every ship in the Valak's fleet could hear. "Admiral Krathzon, your reinforcements have been detected. They are currently 6 hours away. I should inform you that we have 30 more vessels moving to intercept them. Your Empress will arrive to find her fleet already defeated." Krathzon said nothing. His mind raced through options and found none. 16 human ships surrounded his 47 vessels. His flagship was disarmed. The enemy had superior shields and weapons, and apparently they had been watching this entire time, invisible to Valak's sensors. "This is Captain Baek Soo-yeon of the battleship Resolute Dawn," a new voice said. A woman's voice. Firm, but not unkind. "I am now in command of this operation. Admiral Krathzon. These are our terms. You will immediately release all Thren prisoners. You will withdraw your fleet to Valak's territory. You will agree to face a galactic tribunal for your war crimes. If you comply, no Valak's lives will be taken. If you refuse, we will disable every ship in your fleet, just as we disabled your flagship." Krathzon wanted to refuse. Every instinct screamed at him to fight. But he was a military commander, not a fool. Fighting would only lead to the destruction of his fleet. The Valix Imperium does not negotiate with terrorists, he said, trying to sound defiant. We are not terrorists, Captain Bake replied. We are witnesses to your crimes. We have evidence. We have the power to enforce justice. You have 1 hour to decide. The transmission ended. Krathzon looked around his bridge. His officers stared back at him, waiting for orders. For the first time in his career, he had no orders to give. Sir, Commander Zexval said carefully, perhaps we should contact Empress Calvina directly. Let her decide how to proceed. Krathzon nodded slowly. It was a good suggestion. Let the Empress handle this disaster. He had done his duty. The rest was beyond his control now. Back on the silent observer, Dr. Yunsera studied her sensor readings carefully. She was a scientist, not a soldier, but she understood what she was seeing. Captain, I am detecting a massive fleet approaching. 230 ships. Valix reinforcements. Captain Park nodded. Expected. How long until they arrive? 5 hours and 43 minutes at current speed. Lieutenant Cho. Prepare Protocol Omega. Target the 4th moon of this system. The uninhabited one. Cho looked up from her console. Sir? Are you certain? That will reveal our full capabilities. Yes. We need to prevent bloodshed. If the Valix reinforcements see what we can do, they may choose wisdom over pride. Understood, sir. Charging main cannon. Target locked. Park opened a channel to Captain Bake. Suyon. We are about to give them a demonstration. Make sure every ship in the galaxy sees this broadcast. Already arranged, Minjun. Proceed when ready. The silent observer rotated slightly, pointing its main cannon at the distant moon. The weapon charged, energy building to incredible levels. Then it fired. The beam that emerged was thin, barely visible. It crossed the distance to the moon in an instant. When it struck, the moon began to glow. Not explode. Not crack. It glowed brighter and brighter, like a star being born, and then it was gone, simply gone, reduced to individual atoms scattered across space. A moon that had existed for billions of years ceased to exist in 7 seconds. Every ship in the system, Valix and human alike, watched in silence. Every species monitoring the galactic broadcast saw it. The demonstration was clear. Humanity had the power to erase worlds. On the bridge of the Eternal Conquest, Admiral Krathzon stared at the empty space where a moon had been. His hands shook. His voice would not work. Commander Zexval spoke for him. Contact the Empress. Tell her. Tell her to stop the reinforcement fleet. Tell her we surrender. Empress Calvina of the Valix Imperium sat upon her throne and watched the transmission with growing horror. She had ruled for 20 cycles, expanding her empire through strength and fear. She had crushed rebellions and conquered dozens of worlds. Nothing had ever truly frightened her. Until now, the moon had not exploded. Explosions, she understood. This was something else entirely. The humans had somehow unraveled the very atoms that made up the celestial body. 1 shot. 7 seconds. An entire moon simply ceased to exist. Halt the reinforcement fleet, she commanded. Immediately, her military advisor stepped forward, his face pale. Your Majesty, if we halt now, we show weakness. Every species in the galaxy will see that the Valix can be intimidated. If we do not halt, that fleet will be destroyed. Calvina replied coldly. I did not become Empress by sending my warriors to pointless deaths. Stop the fleet. Now. The order went out across faster than light channels. The 230 warships that had been racing to Admiral Krathzon's rescue slowed and stopped. Their commanders protested, but orders were orders. Meanwhile, on the Resolute Dawn, Captain Bake Suyon watched the Valix fleet's status. They were powering down weapons and shields. Good. She did not want to hurt anyone if she could avoid it. Open a channel to the Eternal Conquest, she instructed. Admiral Krathzon appeared on screen. He looked defeated, his proud posture gone. I am authorized to negotiate. Good, Bake said. First, release the Thren prisoners. All of them. It will take time to process. Admiral, I do not think you understand your situation. You have no leverage, no bargaining position. Release the prisoners now, or we will board your ships and release them ourselves. Krathzon swallowed hard and nodded. It will be done. Across the Valak's fleet, cargo bays opened. Thren prisoners emerged, confused and frightened. They had been locked in dark cells, awaiting their fate as slaves. Now, they were being freed. Human shuttles launched from several vessels, moving to collect the freed prisoners. The Valaks did not interfere. They simply watched as thousands of Thren were evacuated. Among the prisoners was Ambassador Threnpil, an elderly statesman who had tried to negotiate peace before the invasion. He was taken aboard the Silent Observer, where Captain Park greeted him personally. Ambassador, I am Captain Minjun Park of Earth. Welcome aboard. Threnpil looked around the human ship with wonder. Everything was clean and advanced. Medical personnel were already treating injured Thren. Food and water were being distributed. You came? For us? Threnpil's voice cracked with emotion. We sent distress signals to every species we knew. No one answered. No one came. But you came. We heard your signals, Park said gently. We were already watching the Valaks. When they attacked your people, we knew we had to act. But why? You do not know us. We have nothing to offer you. Park smiled slightly. Because it was the right thing to do. Humanity learned a long time ago that standing by, while innocents suffer, makes us guilty too. Threnpil began to cry, relief and gratitude overwhelming him. Park gave him time to compose himself, then led him to the medical bay where other Thren were being cared for. Dr. Yoon Sarah worked alongside her medical team, treating injuries. She was gentle with each patient, explaining what she was doing in simple terms. Many Thren had never seen humans before. They stared at these strange beings who had rescued them. Are all humans like this? One young Thren asked. So kind? Yoon smiled. We try to be, though I think you are seeing us at our best right now. While the evacuation continued, something else was happening across the galaxy. The broadcasts that the Silent Observer had sent out were spreading everywhere. Species that had suffered under Valak's aggression saw the evidence of war crimes. Neutral species saw the cruelty behind the Valak's empire's expansion. Even Valak's citizens on the homeworld saw what their military had been doing in their name. On the Valak's homeworld, protests began. Citizens marched in the streets, demanding answers. How could their leaders allow such atrocities? They had been told the Empire was bringing order and civilization to lesser species. The videos showed something very different. Empress Calvina watched the protests from her palace. Her empire was fracturing. Not from military defeat, but from shame. The humans had not needed to fire a shot at her homeworld. They had weaponized truth instead. Contact the human fleet, she ordered. I will negotiate directly. A communication channel opened. Empress Calvina found herself looking at a human woman in a formal uniform. I am Premier Ko Ji-wan, of Earth Defense Command. You wished to speak, Empress? This situation has gone far enough, Calvina said, trying to maintain her dignity. What are your demands? Freedom for the Thren and all other enslaved peoples. Withdrawal of Valak's forces from occupied territories. Reparations for damages caused. And you, personally, will face a galactic tribunal for ordering these attacks. I will not submit to trial by lesser species. Ko's expression did not change. Then your empire will continue to suffer. We will broadcast more evidence. Your own people are already turning against you. How long before your throne becomes unstable? Calvina's hands clenched. The human was right. Her power came from the loyalty of her people. If they lost faith in her leadership, she would fall. You have put me in an impossible position, she said bitterly. No, Empress. You put yourself there. Every choice you made led to this moment. We are simply holding you accountable. Before Calvina could respond, alarms sounded in her throne room. A new transmission came through. General Zarnak, commander of the Home Fleet, appeared on screen. Empress, I am taking command of this crisis. You have shown weakness in the face of these aliens. I will not. The Valaks will not bow to humans. General, stand down immediately, Calvina commanded. That is an order. You no longer give orders, Calvina. The military council has voted. I am assuming emergency powers. We will show these humans what happens when they threaten the Valaks. The transmission cut off. Calvina stared in shock. A coup. Her own general had just staged a coup. Premier Ko had seen the entire exchange. Empress, it appears your situation has become more complicated. 1. He has the Home Fleet, Calvina said, her voice hollow. 20 capital ships. He will send them to attack your vessels. And Admiral Krathzon's fleet? Still at the border. Still surrounded by your ships. Ko nodded slowly. Then General Zarnak has just made a critical error. He has divided his forces. Your border fleet cannot fight. Your home fleet is moving into a trap. What do you mean? Did you think we only had 16 ships, Empress? We have been watching your empire for a long time. We know where every Valak's vessel is located. General Zarnak is about to learn that we are very thorough. Back at the border, Admiral Krathzon received the transmission from General Zarnak. The general ordered him to resume hostilities immediately, to fight to the last ship if necessary. Krathzon looked at his bridge crew. They were exhausted, frightened, defeated. He thought about the moon that had been erased from existence. He thought about the futility of fighting an enemy so far beyond them. No, he said quietly. Commander Zexisval looked at him in surprise. Sir, tell the general no. I will not sacrifice my crew for his pride. We are surrendering to the humans. Sir. Perhaps. But it is also survival. In the distance, sensors detected General Zarnak's fleet approaching at maximum speed. 20 Valak's capital ships against 16 human vessels. The general clearly thought his superior numbers would win the day. He was about to learn otherwise. General Zarnak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Fang, and felt righteous fury burning in his chest. The Valaks had ruled this region of space for generations. They were the strongest military power in known space. And now, some upstart species dared to challenge them? How long until we reach the border fleet? He demanded. 2 hours at current speed, General, his navigator replied. Increase to maximum velocity. I want to arrive with enough momentum to break through the human formation. Sir, we do not know their capabilities. Perhaps we should approach with caution. Zarnak turned to face his bridge crew. Caution is for the weak. The Empress showed caution. And look where it got her. Humiliated before the entire galaxy. I will restore Valak's honor, even if I must do it through force. His crew nodded, though several looked uncertain. They had all seen the footage of the moon being destroyed. But orders were orders. And Zarnak was now their supreme commander. Across the galaxy, an emergency session of the Galactic Council convened. Hundreds of species sent representatives to the neutral station where the council met. They had all received humanity's broadcasts. They had all seen the evidence of Valak's war crimes. Council Representative Morthak called the session to order. He was a member of the Kelth species, known for their fairness and neutrality. We face an unprecedented situation. A previously unknown species has revealed itself, demonstrated superior technology, and intervened in galactic affairs. We must decide how to respond. The council chamber erupted with dozens of voices. Some species praised humanity's intervention. Others feared the newcomers. A few demanded that humans be expelled from the galaxy immediately. Order! Morthok's voice boomed. We will hear from the humans themselves. Earth has sent representatives. Premier Kojiwon entered the chamber, accompanied by Director Nam Tae-hyun of Earth Intelligence Service and Captain Park. They walked calmly to the central platform, seemingly unbothered by the hundreds of alien eyes watching them. Premier Ko, Morthok began. Your species has disrupted galactic order. You have revealed technology far beyond what we thought possible. You have intervened in a conflict uninvited. Many here demand answers. How long have you been watching us? Ko stood tall, her expression neutral. 17 years. We discovered faster than light travel, and immediately began reconnaissance. We wanted to understand the galaxy before revealing ourselves. The chamber exploded with noise again. 17 years? Humans had been watching them for 17 years without being detected? That is impossible, shouted a delegate from the Torvac Confederation. Our sensors would have detected any cloaked vessels. Director Nam stepped forward. Your sensors detected nothing, because our cloaking technology works on principles you have not yet discovered. We have observed every major species. We have learned your languages, studied your cultures, and monitored your conflicts. That is espionage, another delegate accused. An act of war. No, Ko replied calmly. It was prudence. We are a single-planet species entering a vast galaxy. We saw the Valaks conquering weaker civilizations. We saw the Torvac Confederation raid colony ships. We saw the Kelmar Dominion enslave entire populations. Should we have announced ourselves immediately and become another victim? Morthok raised his hand for silence. You paint a dark picture of galactic civilization. I paint an accurate picture, Ko said. We watched for 17 years. In that time, we saw 43 unprovoked invasions. We saw 12 genocides. We saw hundreds of war crimes committed with no consequences. The strong prey on the weak, and no one stops them. And so you decided to become the strongest? Morthok asked. We decided to become strong enough to protect ourselves and others. When the Valaks attacked the Thren, we had to choose. Stand by and watch innocents suffer, or intervene. We chose to intervene. A Valaks delegate stood, his face contorted with anger. You had no right. The Thren are in Valaks territory. Their fate is ours to decide. Captain Park spoke for the first time, his voice cutting through the noise. The Thren are not property. They are people. And they asked for help. We answered, by threatening our entire fleet. The Valaks delegate countered, by demonstrating weapons that can destroy moons. Do you not see how that terrifies everyone here? A.M. Ender. Way. Ender still. Yes. Park admitted. I do. And I am sorry for that. We never wanted to frighten anyone. But the Valaks gave us no choice. We tried peaceful negotiation. We were threatened with annihilation. So we showed that we could not be easily destroyed. Director Nam activated a holographic display. I want to share something with this council. These are sensor logs from the past 17 years. Images appeared, showing human vessels conducting surveillance throughout the galaxy. There were ships near every major homeworld, every military installation, every trade route. The scope was staggering. We have been everywhere, Nam continued. We know the location of every Valaks military base, every Torvac raiding fleet, every Kelmar slave depot. We have maps of your territories, copies of your military protocols. We even know your communications encryption methods. The council chamber fell into stunned silence. The implications were enormous. Humanity knew everything about them. Every weakness. Every secret. Why are you telling us this? Morthok asked quietly. Because transparency builds trust, Ko replied. We could have remained hidden forever, manipulating events from the shadows. Instead, we are revealing ourselves honestly. Yes, we have advantages. Yes, we have been watching you. But we are not your enemies. We simply refuse to be victims. And the Valaks? Morthok pressed. What are your intentions toward them? That depends on General Zarnak, Ko said. The general has seized power and is currently leading a fleet to attack our vessels. If he engages, we will defend ourselves. But we will not kill anyone, if we can avoid it. How merciful, the Valak's delegate said sarcastically. You will only defeat our fleet, humiliate our military, and destroy our empire's reputation. Your empire's reputation destroyed itself, Captain Park replied. We simply made sure everyone could see the truth. Before the debate could continue, alarms sounded throughout the station. Morthok received an urgent communication. General Zarnak's fleet has engaged the human vessels at the border, he announced. The battle has begun. Every delegate turned to watch the live feed being broadcast from the conflict zone. What they saw would change galactic politics forever. General Zarnak's 20 capital ships emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. They immediately opened fire on the human vessels surrounding Admiral Krothzon's surrendered fleet. The human ships did not return fire. Not at first. They simply moved. The delegates watched in awe as the human vessels dodged incoming fire with impossible grace. Ships that large should not be able to move like that. They weaved between plasma bolts and kinetic rounds like dancers, never taking a single hit. What are they doing? Someone whispered. They are studying the attack patterns, Director Nam explained, watching from the council chamber. Our combat AI is learning how Valak's weapons and tactics work. In about 30 seconds, it will have enough data. Sure enough, 30 seconds later, the human ships began their counterattack. But they did not use their main weapons. Instead, precise beams lanced out from each vessel, targeting specific systems on the Valak's ships. Engines disabled. Weapons offline. Shields collapsed. Ship after ship went dark, drifting helplessly but intact. No explosions. No casualties. Just surgical precision that left the Valak's fleet completely helpless. The entire engagement lasted 4 minutes. General Zarnak stared at his dead controls in disbelief. His flagship was powerless. His fleet was defeated, and not a single human ship had been damaged. Captain Bake's voice came over an open channel. General Zarnak, your fleet is disabled but unharmed. Your crews are safe. Stand down, and we will discuss terms of surrender. Zarnak said nothing. He simply stared at the view screen, watching human vessels move among his defeated ships, like shepherds among sheep. In the council chamber, Morthok turned to face Premier Ko. You have made your point, Premier. Humanity is powerful, but power alone does not grant you authority here. We do not seek authority, Ko replied. We seek partnership. We want to join the galactic community, but only if that community operates with justice and law. No more unprovoked wars. No more slavery. No more strong, devouring the weak. Those are noble words, Morthok said. But who will enforce these ideals? You? Ko smiled slightly. If necessary. But we would prefer that the council itself take responsibility. Establish real laws. Real consequences. We will support you, but we will no longer stand by while atrocities happen. The council debated for hours, but the outcome was clear. Humanity had demonstrated both power and restraint. They had the technology to dominate the galaxy, but chose cooperation instead. The council had no choice but to accept them as equals. The aftermath of the battle spread across the galaxy like ripples in water. General Zarnak's attempted coup had failed spectacularly. His disabled fleet drifted in space while human vessels maintained a careful watch. On the Valak's homeworld, citizens demanded answers. How had their mighty military been defeated so easily? Empress Calvina addressed her people from the imperial palace. She looked tired, her proud bearing diminished by recent events. My fellow Valaks, we have suffered a great defeat, not because we lacked courage, but because we lacked wisdom. We believed our strength made us invincible. We were wrong. The broadcast reached every corner of Valak space. Citizens listened, some with anger, others with shame. The humans have shown us mercy we did not deserve, Calvina continued. They could have destroyed our fleets. They chose not to. They could have invaded our worlds. They chose not to. Instead, they demand only justice. Justice for those we have wronged. She paused, gathering her courage for what came next. Therefore, I am formally dissolving the military expansion doctrine. All occupied territories will be returned to their rightful owners. All enslaved peoples will be freed. And I will submit myself to the Galactic Tribunal to answer for my crimes. The announcement shocked the Empire. Some celebrated, others protested. But the decision was made. At the border, Captain Park stood on the bridge of the Silent Observer and watched as Thren refugees boarded transport vessels. Thousands of them, finally going home. Ambassador Threnpil approached him, his aged face marked by tears of joy. Captain Park, I do not have words sufficient to thank you. You risked everything to save my people. Park shook his head. We did what anyone should have done. I only wish we had acted sooner. Park, you acted when no one else would. That makes all the difference. Threnpil held out his hand in the human gesture. Park had taught him. They shook hands, and Park felt the weight of gratitude in that simple touch. Dr. Yoon Sira joined them, carrying data tablets. Ambassador, we have completed medical screenings for all the rescued Thren. Most are malnourished, but will recover fully. We have provided supplies and medicine for your journey home. You have given us more than supplies, Threnpil said. You have given us hope. For years, we believed the galaxy had forgotten us. That might made right, and we had no might. But you proved that courage and compassion still matter. Across the sector, other rescued peoples echoed similar sentiments. Species that had been enslaved or conquered by the Valaks suddenly found themselves free. Human vessels escorted them safely back to their homeworlds, providing aid and protection. On Earth, the news of first contact dominated every broadcast. Humanity had revealed itself to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. Some people celebrated. Others worried about the consequences. Premier Ko addressed the United Earth Assembly to explain their actions. We spent 17 years preparing for this moment, she said to the assembled representatives. We knew that revealing ourselves would change everything. We chose to do so by defending those who could not defend themselves. That is who we are. That is who we choose to be. The Assembly voted overwhelmingly to support the government's actions. Earth began preparing for formal, diplomatic relations with dozens of alien species. At the Galactic Council Station, Morthok called a special session. The chamber was packed with delegates, eager to see what would happen next. Premier Ko and her team returned to the central platform. The council has deliberated, Morthok announced. We offer humanity a permanent seat on the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. Ko inclined her head in acknowledgement. We accept, with conditions. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. Humans were already making demands? First, Ko continued, the Council must establish enforceable laws against slavery, genocide, and unprovoked warfare. Second, there must be real consequences for those who break these laws. Third, weaker species must have protection and representation. The Council cannot simply be a gathering of the powerful. Those are significant changes to how we operate, Morthok said carefully. Yes, they are also necessary. Humanity will not join a council that tolerates atrocities. We spent 17 years watching this galaxy tear itself apart. That ends now. The threat was clear. Humanity had the power to reshape galactic politics by force if necessary. But they preferred cooperation. Very well, Morthok agreed. We will draft new protocols. But Premier Ko, you must understand that change takes time. Not every species will accept these reforms easily. We understand, but we will be watching, always watching. In the following weeks, 12 aggressive empires immediately ceased their expansion plans. The display of human military power had convinced them that conquest was no longer worth the risk. 3 species that had been planning invasions quietly shelved their plans. The Valix Empire began the long process of paying reparations and releasing occupied territories. It was painful and humiliating. But Empress Calvina kept her word. She appeared before the Galactic Tribunal and accepted responsibility for her actions. The tribunal sentenced her to house arrest and removed her from power. It was merciful compared to what she deserved, but it sent a clear message. General Zarnak faced harsher judgment. His attempted coup and reckless attack had endangered thousands of lives. He was imprisoned, and his supporters removed from military positions. The Valix fleet underwent complete restructuring, with commanders chosen for their wisdom rather than their aggression. Admiral Krathzon, surprisingly, was offered leniency. He had surrendered when continued fighting would have been pointless. He had protected his crew, rather than sacrifice them for pride. The tribunal assigned him to oversee Valix disarmament efforts, turning a former conqueror into a peacekeeper. Captain Park visited him once during this process. They met in a conference room on a neutral station. 2 military officers who had nearly destroyed each other. "Why did you spare us?" Krathzon asked. "You had every right to destroy my fleet." "Because killing you would not have changed anything," Park replied. "We wanted to change minds, not simply defeat armies. You succeeded. I have seen what the Valix did. In the name of strength. It shames me. Then use that shame to build something better. Help your people find a new path." Krathzon nodded slowly. "I will try." As months passed, the galaxy adapted to its new reality. Human vessels became a common sight, always watching, always ready to intervene if necessary. Some species resented the oversight. Most welcomed it. The silent observer returned to Earth for the first time since revealing itself. Captain Park and his crew received a hero's welcome. They had changed galactic history, and they had done it without firing a single shot in anger. Dr. Yoon stood at the observation deck, looking down at Earth's blue surface. "It is strange to be home. Out there, we changed everything. Here, life continues as normal." "Not for long," Lieutenant Cho said, joining her. "Earth is already building new ships, training new crews. We are going to be a galactic power now. I hope we use that power wisely." "We will. Captain Park will make sure of it." Park himself stood on the bridge one last time before disembarking. He thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the tension, the relief when violence was avoided. "Captain," his communications officer called out, "we are receiving a message from Galactic Council. They want us back in space within a month. 3 more species have requested human protection while they establish their own defenses." Park smiled. "Tell them we will be there. The silent observer is always ready, far across the galaxy, in deep space near the territory of an aggressive empire, known for its brutal raids." Space rippled. 20 human vessels decloaked simultaneously, their presence detected by every sensor in range. They hung there for exactly 10 seconds, long enough to be seen and recorded. Then they vanished again, cloaking back into invisibility. The message was clear. Humanity was watching. Everywhere. Always. On dozens of worlds, aggressive leaders reconsidered their plans. Pirates thought twice about their next raid. Would-be conquerors found peaceful alternatives. The mere possibility of human intervention was enough to change behavior. Captain Baek Soo-yeon, now commanding the entire Earth Expeditionary Fleet, reviewed reports from her ships scattered throughout the galaxy. "We do not need to fight every battle, Endline," she told her staff. "We just need to make sure everyone knows we could." It was a new kind of deterrence. Not through fear of destruction, but through the certainty that injustice would have consequences. Ambassador Threnpil, now fully recovered and back on his homeworld, recorded a message that was broadcast throughout the galaxy. To all who suffer under tyranny, know this: you are not alone. Humanity has shown us that the strong can choose mercy, that power can be used for protection rather than domination. The galaxy is changing. Hope exists again. On Earth, children learned about the first contact in their history classes. How humanity had watched and waited. How they had prepared. How they had revealed themselves not through conquest, but through compassion. The lesson was simple but profound. Strength without wisdom was tyranny. Power without restraint was destruction. But strength used to protect the weak? That was heroism. Captain Park retired from active service a year later. But his legacy lived on. The silent observer became a symbol of human principles. Watch carefully. Prepare thoroughly. Act decisively. But always, always, choose mercy when possible. As humanity took its place among the galactic powers, they carried those lessons with them. They had decloaked and changed everything. Not through weapons, though they had them. Not through threats, though they could make them, but through a simple demonstration that power without purpose was meaningless. The galaxy had regretted challenging them. But in time, they came to appreciate having humans as guardians rather than conquerors. And somewhere in the depths of space, cloaked human vessels continued their eternal watch, ready to reveal themselves whenever injustice needed to be confronted. The message remained the same. You were being watched. You were being judged. And humanity